This is The Coin Chat, the most trusted voice for all things cryptocurrency. Each week, we dissect an important issue and cut through the noise and misinformation out there in the world of the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and ICOs to capture the facts that truly matter to you that will give you an edge in this fast-moving emerging market. The who, what, where, when, and how of what you need to know in crypto to get ahead so you don't get left behind. Now here's your host, financial expert and CEO of Coinvestor.io, Steve Good.
Hey everyone, this is Steve Good and welcome to our next episode of the Coin Chat. Welcome back, Yuri Cataldo.
Bye, Steve.
Oh, you are there. Okay, great.
I am here.
You never know. And today's special guest, Jonathan Chang, from the CEO from an ICO called Nauticus from way down under in Australia. So, Jonathan, welcome to the podcast today.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Yuri. How are we?
Very good, thank you.
We're doing great. How's the weather down under?
Oh, look, just the usual. Melbourne. Cold during the morning, summer during lunchtime, springtime in the afternoon, and cold again at night. So, four seasons city, right? Like they say.
Oh yeah.
And
riding kangaroos to work.
No kangaroos popping by.
Yeah. No.
Wombats.
Actually, you'd see them. You see them a bit more often at nighttime. Driving home from work. I live about 45 minutes away because you know how Melbourne is. It's actually expanding city. It goes outwards.
Right.
So I live about 45 minutes away. Quite dangerous, actually. I fall asleep half the time because I believe work at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. quite often.
Oh wow.
The life of the ICO, isn't it?
I'm telling you. I mean, look, it's a bit of a perfectionist problem as well. I mean, that's how it is, right? You got 100 tasks to do with only 30 hours worth of work with 24 hours to do it, and it's constantly building up. So it's about when you can say to yourself, "I'm satisfied with where I am right now, and I'm ready to go take a rest," which never really happens.
So of course now we have to ask you. So Jonathan, are you satisfied?
Look, it's objective, right? It's objective. Everyone says it's good enough at some point. I personally, and most of our executive team, we're never satisfied, right? We're hungry for more. We're hungry to improve. We're hungry to deliver the best we can to the customers, to our users, and to develop the future of this industry as a whole, not just for Nauticus, but for everyone that's involved. So never satisfied, always hungry for more.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And we have to ask. So Yuri hasn't asked me the question yet, and he's going to soon. But have you tried spending Bitcoin anywhere before?
Yes, I have. In fact, Melbourne is actually not that many places who have Bitcoin accepted at the moment. However, we do have a couple of. I think we have a kebab shop that accepts it, and we have the Brisbane airport that accepts it as well. So
we covered that in our channel in a previous episode about the fact that Brisbane announced their. So have you actually been to Brisbane Airport and seen it in action?
Well, not since they launched it. I haven't had time to travel around that much for recreational reasons. But yeah, it's quite interesting because it's really putting Australia at the forefront of this whole entire revolution, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The commercial itself was, approved by the Brisbane government or Australian government ad.
Right.
And so when they did the ad for the airport, so that was quite amazing having that kind of a change in terms of interaction methods and how payments are processed over there. So it's quite good. I think Australia and our friends over in New Zealand were a bit of a competition at the moment, having a race, see who can adopt this technology the fastest. And it's great to see. I mean, they're very supportive. Both countries, both sides are very supportive, as well as obviously a lot of other countries in the world.
Yeah.
So how active is trading for crypto, in the Australia, New Zealand region? Is there a lot of hype and excitement about crypto generally? Or
it's taking time to grow to that level. I think I would say we're probably 12 months behind, I think, from where the rest of the world was in terms of the information of cryptocurrencies. I would say that much like some other countries such as Taiwan or I can't think of another one at the moment, but we're definitely a couple 12 months behind in the sense that it's really now that we're really catching on to what's going on here and people are starting to educate themselves on it. I think partially as well as just the culture. I mean, we're a bit more conservative here. We're a bit more careful with what we do. So we make sure everything we decide on is regulated first. And
Yeah,
even
which
individuals.
sounds something similar to my living in the UK and finding the same kind of thing there. That there's
Exactly.
there's a crossover in the cultures. I mean, we've got a lot of Australians and New Zealanders in the UK and London as well, and the cultural connect seems to align very well as well. But I do see in the UK we're just behind. We're slow. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Things are happening.
I think
more happening in Poland.
100%. And I think it just has to do with lifestyle as well. I mean, Aussies here, we just really want a laid back kind of relaxing life in Australia as a culture. I think everyone here works hard, but as they also know how to enjoy life. Kicking back, grab a beer. It's very important to us. There's coffee shops as well, right? The brunches in Melbourne are very famous. I think it's a really, really great place to be because of that.
Yeah. Jonathan, how long have you been in Australia?
Altogether, Australia?
Yeah.
I don't know, 11 years, 12 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Why did you choose to move to Australia?
Look, I think going back all the way to my youth, second generation pretty much. Well, I guess you can say first generation. Parents moved over. They wanted me to be bilingual though. That's why I can actually give you an ear figure because I traveled a bit back and forth between Taiwan and Australia so that I could become bilingual, fluently speaking and writing and reading in both languages, Mandarin and English. Which turned out to be a great advantage. I mean, myself, background-wise, family background-wise, is definitely from Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And not until, the older you get, the more wise you get, and you realize, oh, right, okay, the languages were very important to learn, whereas when you're a kid, you don't care. And so now I'm really putting the active effort into learning more languages, picking up the local Taiwanese language, which I refused to learn before, picking up Japanese, trying to learn, very tourist level. Don't try to test me on it, but I think it's quite important. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So before we get too deep, Steve, I have to ask, have you tried to spend any Bitcoin this week?
Well, I did try spending some Bitcoin at a TGI Fridays at an airport.
Good news. How was it?
I made a good go of it, and my wife made note of the response because I was more listening to him tell me, and I sometimes forget what people say after the fact because I'm more caught up in the moment. And he said he had heard about it and said, and I have to quote, I'm sorry, I'm quoting TGI Friday staff on this. The company's way behind on this, and maybe in a few years we'll get around to becoming more mainstream.
Yes.
So clearly, the employees in TGI Fridays do not think that you guys are mainstream. So get with the program and get some Bitcoin, please.
Right. Look, we gotta show them. We gotta show them how it works. We gotta prove it, isn't it? Look, what we gotta do is we gotta get some mainstream celebrities just to chat about it, gossip about it a bit, right? And then from there, it would really start.
I have a whole thing about that in ICO scams.
Steve has strong opinions about celebrities in ICO.
The last thing I want is, no disrespect, but Paris Hilton going around telling everybody that she's using Bitcoin because it has this negative impact on ICOs when they get celebrities involved, and oftentimes, in fact, the SEC even issued a warning that ICOs that are involved with celebrities should probably not be doing the ICO.
Yeah,
definitely.
Floyd Mayweather and Steven Seagal ICO is under a lot of problems in New Jersey because of that. And now they're going to be in trouble.
That's like the battle there. It's like Floyd Mayweather versus wow, this is going to be a really good one. I can't wait to see it in action.
I would watch that.
That's
movie.
right.
Floyd
Mayweather, you just have to be. Exactly. I mean, you just have to be very clear. I mean, we're very transparent. We're very clear about what we're doing, about the terminology we use. We're very clear about those who ask us questions, and we make sure we don't say the wrong thing. We don't want to give any misdirections, and I think that's very important. And whoever you find, doesn't matter who you find. What I mentioned there was more just getting more people involved so that it's more of a public involvement. But whoever you get involved as an ICO, you just got to make sure it's very clear from day one. You share the same vision. You know where you're going. It's a journey that you go on together, and that's very important. It's a team environment at the end of the day.
Look, I think if you're talking about something like, let's say it's the fashion industry, and you had a famous person like Donna Karan who's, got a big company, and she said, I completely see how we need to transform our business, and she gathered a bunch of, other leaders in the fashion industry or other companies together, and they were to collaboratively say, we're going to do something to transform our industry using Ethereum or Bitcoin or something, that would have more, at least personally for me, would have more meaning than just one
100%.
celebrity saying, so I am winding you up a little bit here.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. That's
and
exactly what I mean as well.
You've got the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which of course is a lot of banks and some other companies as well that are all collaborating together for the purposes of trying to define and make smart contracts actually workable and usable globally, which is great.
That's right.
But then you have Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan saying, blah, 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 Bitcoin's all a big fraud. And of course, and then retracting it and telling people no one does anything with crypto. And then, of course, you look on the Ethereum website and the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance website, and you find that JP Morgan's logo is on there. So
yeah, I mean, it's very ironic. That was definitely questionable things happened there. We all know, so we won't go into depth with that.
Right.
But I understand exactly what you mean, and you're 100% right. It's all about coming together and making it more usable. Not to say to only focus on, and that's kind of what Nauticus is all about as well. As we obviously dive deep into what we're doing, it's all about not just saying use cases, that, but actually making it publicly usable. So it doesn't have to be a revolutionizing idea or technology, but more how can you get people onto it first? Because it doesn't matter how great the idea is. If people are not using it, then they're not using it. Like TiVo was a great idea, but people didn't understand it, people didn't get it, and it didn't really kick off as fast as Apple did.
Right.
So just before we jump into Nauticus itself, tell us when did you get involved with crypto, and how did you end up deciding to get into Nauticus? What's your backstory on crypto?
Look, I think it started many, many years ago. Me and Brian, we're actually been great friends for many years, and we've always, over time, obviously, during a friendship, we found something about each other that really stuck us together was the shared vision, what we cared about in life in general. This is before whole crypto, right? What we cared about in life, what we wanted to achieve. And what we really wanted was to make sure that we can give back to communities and help out, make change to the world. And what we mean by that is this. Give you an example, which I've told on other podcasts as well. We're both involved in community work. And Brian himself, for example, that's very easily to compare, is he's been doing sponsorship for kids since he was in his early 20s, like he's still in university. And so for so many years, over 20 years now, he's been doing it. What he found, and what I find as well, is the powerlessness, right? It doesn't matter how much income you end up earning. You can be $1 million earner a year. You can only donate so much. Donating doesn't really solve the problem, is what we found. We're more of a hands-on type of people. And with donating as well, these charities, nothing wrong about them. They're doing a great job, but most of the money ends up going to marketing, right? And that's something we feel quite the powerlessness was quite concerning, because $10 go out, only $1 gets to the people who actually need it. Personally, I'd much rather be over there building the schools hands-on. Doing something hands-on. I can feel the impact. I can actually be part of it and actually identify issues right away. We're very managerial and strategic in that sense too. So you can see kind of how our business and our personal preferences come in line here. And now we've always been chatting. And therefore we was always connected because of this reason. And obviously with numerous other issues in the world, human trafficking, et cetera, et cetera. So going from there, about 2 years ago, we were having this conversation one day, just having a casual catch-up. And we started talking about blockchain and Bitcoin and all these technologies involved in decentralized systems. And unbeknownst to ourselves, we were both already understood the technology. We thought we were bringing up a topic, but it turns out we both already knew about it, roughly. And as we continued to look into it and continued to talk about it, we started realizing that we were both already involved, and we both agreed on how much impact the decentralized technology, not just blockchain, not just Bitcoin, but the entire theory and concept of it can bring to the world, just from an overall high-level standpoint. And so from there, we came together and thought, what can we do? Let's take something and make it better. Let's help others and bring this industry forward so the whole world may come together, so that in the future it's not one person pushing for donations or pushing for change or revolutionizing, but everyone coming together, much like Martin Luther King, right? He didn't himself push for a change, other people came together and followed a great leader and pushed for change. Not everything.
That's right. Yeah, he was a
fun.
catalyst for sure, but you're right. I mean, it took a catalyst to create a movement. The movement was already there.
That's right. And that's what we